Well, when I first started to produce music, I was 15 years old. And I remember listening to hip hop in particular when nobody else really wasn't. At that time, what people used to listen to a lot was a lot of dancehall reggae. So if you listen to any kind of American music, you was labeled as a wannabe American. And
As opposed to being a wannabe Jamaican? I had to ask.
like I had the opportunity to be on Love and Hip Hop, and I turned it down because I'm like, no, I'm not gonna represent myself like that. I'm not going to just do something just for a check. I think the sad thing is what these children listen to today, I think is a bit more aggressive today. It's more about the use of drugs, taking drugs, a lot more violence. Back in the day, if you was the drug dealer, you was the cool person. Today, if you take drugs, you're still the cool person.
And thanks for joining us yet again as we continue the discussion on things and on matters impacting Bermuda and the people who call Bermuda home at the moment. Not just Bermudians, but the multitude of nationalities that now reside here in Bermuda, contributing to its development. Of course, Dr. James is taking the lead in that regard, trying to look at issues that affect us all, discuss them, and arrive at solutions. And today we're going to be talking with Mr. Rian Williams, who is a Grammy-nominated producer from these small islands of Bermuda. Rian, thanks for chatting with us.
And how you doing today, Mr. Marino?
None of your business, but I'm all right. Now, you've been in the music industry forever.
Yeah.
I came here hearing about you. You were probably still in high school when I first started hearing about you. But how do you think your involvement in music and hip-hop in particular, how has that shaped your worldview, if not just your view of Bermuda?
Because when I first started to produce music, I was 15 years old. And I remember listening to hip-hop in particular when nobody else really wasn't. At that time, what people used to listen to a lot was a lot of dancehall reggae. So if you listen to any kind of American music, you was labeled as a wannabe American. And
As opposed to being a wannabe Jamaican? I had to ask.
yes. So hip hop wasn't really a popular thing that people was listening to. It wasn't until probably early 2000 where people started to listen to more hip hop, and it started to affect the way how they dress, how they talk, just everything. And I was like, wow, like people are really migrating to this. And once my name became a little bit more well known for producing music, people was just coming to me asking for production, and they were saying I rap, I sing, and I'm like, really? Like, yeah, like, you like to just listen to reggae music, like as long as I'm knowing you. So I would just say that for me in particular, I guess because I took a stance on what I always liked, it didn't really change me in particular. I just saw the change in others as that genre in particular started to evolve. So for me, it didn't really have an impact on me. I would say that my overseas experiences, that was where a lot of change happened because of what I was able to experience, just meeting celebrity artists, for the first time, and realizing that they're just normal people, but just just having the experience of just meeting these, like, working with them.
How has that shaped your experience? Being overseas, of course.
Yeah, it's showing me that people are just people. I used to have this thing where I thought that celebrities were just untouchable. They was just not realistic. I remember one time this ex-girlfriend of mine, she had a crush on this artist, and I was like, it's a possibility I can actually meet this person, right? And she was like, yeah, right. And it was funny because to her, it was just like, it's impossible to like, meet a celebrity, and funny enough, I ended up meeting that person you had a crush on, and working with them. But so for me, it's just humbled me. But also just showed me that people are just people. They're just in a position to just do what they love to do, but they're just basically normal people. Like when you see them beyond the TV screen and you see them walking and they stop to talk to you, or they don't stop to talk to you. So yeah, so it just basically just humbled me, but it also showed me that celebrities are just normal people. It's us that give them that title. Just based on me interacting with them and working with them, it just became a thing. It just became normalized.
You grew up in a predominantly conservative Christian home where the values we see espoused in hip hop would not necessarily be the same values.
Right.
How you navigate that?
And that's a really good question. Well, I grew up in Sunday school, and then as I got older, I think that what it is, my parents were okay with what I chose to listen to as long as it didn't affect me characteristically, So I think that I learned the balance from young, to not be influenced by what I listen to. And I think that is why it didn't really have no impact on even like my belief in God. I stayed a believer the good way. I wasn't even a person that drank. I didn't smoke. I wasn't even a going out person. Never even really been to the clubs, probably like a handful of times. So no matter what I chose to involve myself in, music-wise, I never lost sight of my faith, and I remained the same person to go away.
We're going to come back to that issue of faith, but you said that you weren't influenced, but you were exposed to all of this stuff. How were you able to not fall victim, or how were you able to avoid the temptations that comes with that kind of life?
You said I avoided the temptation. I'm here joking. No, to be honest, I guess just not being a follower. I saw a lot of people, what they chose to follow. And for me, I was just never a person that wanted to follow anything. I always wanted to stand out, but unintentionally, not trying to stand out, just being myself and not caring to be part of the in crowd. Self-love, self-belief, as well. I think that you have to be the biggest believer in yourself. And I think that like just me being the biggest believer in myself, I think that just put me in a position to where I just didn't really need validation. So I think that just played a big part in just a lot of how I progressed through the industry.
Now that whole hip hop culture has now been transplanted here.
Yeah.
It's taken root and it's grown.
The fact that people's dress codes, just everything.
What is the impact that you've seen it have here? Because it can be stated that there's been a negative impact.
Yeah.
That's been adopted, or that there has been a negative impact as a result of the music's introduction here.
Yeah, I think the sad thing is what these children listen to today. I think is a bit more aggressive today. It's more about the use of drugs, taking drugs. A lot more violence. I think in my time was a bit more. You focus more on lyrics, saying something, and just, yeah, it was just more just how you put words together. Today's time it's just more violent, and it's just a lot of talking about drugs. So now it's like the younger generation, they feel like it's okay to, I guess, just be influenced by those things. Where back in the day, if you was the drug dealer, you was the cool person. Today, if you take drugs, you're still the cool person. So it's like, it's how it's flipped now. It's where before you would get, you get talked bad about if you was a person that took drugs. But now today is just pretty much accepted.
Par for the course.
Yeah, and it's sad because drugs now, they don't come in the form of, like crack and heroin, things like that. Now it's in the form of pills. So now pill popping is a big thing. When I was in Atlanta, it was a drink they called it syrup. So it was
Cough medicine.
yeah, mixed with Sprite or other things. So seeing that, that becoming like a cool thing, it's like, wow, like that's what I don't like,
But do you think it has proven detrimental to the Bermudian community, particularly young black males?
I think to a degree, I haven't really seen so much of that influence in Bermuda so much. I heard about things, but I don't really hear about it so much or see it, to be honest. I think the peel popping is something that's pretty common that I keep hearing about, but I don't really know accurately, but I heard about it.
But we also see the gun violence.
Right.
These are things that are glorified in modern hip-hop music.
Yeah, modern hip hop, also dancehall. Still, dancehall is pretty aggressive as well. So it's, and then social media. So now you have where,
But it's a marriage because there's the
it's
social
all of
media
it.
that
Yeah,
promotes
it's
the
all of it.
hip-hop.
Yeah.
The hip-hop artists use that medium, the various social media platforms to
Yeah.
promote their music and even their lifestyle to get
Yeah.
people to buy into it.
Yeah, it's you see where the so-called gangster artists, they go on live and they show what they're doing, what they're about to do. To very much heavy on social media, and some of these like that listen to these artists, they might admire that, and I think that's really sad.
But you think that you've been exposed to some of these American artists, some of these international artists. How much of what we see is real? Because I
All
grew
of
up.
it.
I grew up in the era
All of
of
it is
of Public Enemy and
Okay.
LL and
NWA.
those guys. And
Right, yeah.
LL Cool J used to. I remember reading an article on him where he said he doesn't own that many cars. He doesn't buy all that gold. He rents that stuff for his music videos.
Yeah.
But yet, still, all young people buy into that and think this is the lifestyle that these individuals lead.
Yeah, it's, from what I saw in Atlanta, a lot of it is actually real. Because what it is now, it's artists that come from certain neighborhoods, and they are using the hip hop platform to I guess present themselves in a way where they can basically, it's kind of like being like an actor in an action movie. You can act like that you are a gangster, but you really are. But you can still use the music as something to where it can, like if the police was to interrogate you, you could say, "Oh, I don't really do that," So you can still hide behind, the music, but you actually are still that person in real life. So and that's been something that's happening too. A lot of these artists are really killers. They're really into what they are. So, and I think that the listeners, they either believe it or they don't, but they just still choose to just, be influenced by it, unfortunately. So.
Now, we as I mentioned, you're a well-known music producer, but you've basically, well, I don't know if you've tuned your back on music full-time, but you're now into the business the business
I
world.
still do music, yeah.
What was that transition? What led to that transition?
The transition to doing music, or like, no.
No, doing business.
So I was signed in Atlanta for about 5 years. Then I lived out there for actually 2 years. Then I came back from Bermuda because I was on a limited contract. So, but for me, as a music producer, I don't have to be seen. I could just make the music, be behind the scenes, and enjoy my life like that. So when my contract ended, I came back from Bermuda, and then I was the operations supervisor for Magic Wonder 2.7 for a few years. And then being in Bermuda is Bermuda is not designed to live off of media and entertainment. It's not. Bermuda is a place where it's more corporate driven. So to really have a substantial life, you have to have some kind of corporate job or degree and things like that. Me, I don't have a degree. So I was
overrated as far as I'm concerned, but that's another discussion.
So for me, I was fortunate enough to just get corporate experiences, which I have now. So I just balance everything out. I have my 9 to 5, and then when I'm not working, I still make music. I still have my connections to artists. I just make music and email beats to artists. And funny, that's how I became Grammy-nominated. I was still have my regular job, and I was emailing music to this reggae artist named Protege. And then probably like almost a year later, he contacted me and said, we're basically nominated for a Grammy. I was like, what? And it just went from there. And the song that I produced from, he also performed it on the Tonight Show. That was pretty big. Which one was it? Not Jay. I forgot the name of the Tonight Show guys.
At the time when Jay Leno was the host?
No. Sorry, this is recent. Give me 2 of the Tonight Show.
Couldn't tell you. I don't look at television like that.
Okay. Well, they're very popular. I just can't remember the names. Yeah, God's face, man. But anyway, so he performed it. This one that I produced from, he performed on one of the Tonight Shows on ABC, and yeah, it just started just to get traction. Royal Gazette done a few write-ups on me, brand news, and things like that. And when people found out in Bermuda, they was everywhere I went. People was just congratulating, because I was the first Bermudian to be Grammy nominated. So that was nice, But I just, I still felt very much like as an everyday person, because I guess for me, I look at it, and maybe I need to change my mindset, but when I look at success, I don't look at it from an accolade standpoint, because I feel like accolades are not respected enough, because you could still not have money but still have accolades. So for me, success has always been like a financial thing, because it's like you're living off of what you want to do. And I just feel like that accolades are just not respected. You could get a trophy, but it still doesn't equate to anything financially. So when I got Grammy nominated, it still didn't, equate to money. It was just an accolade, but I still have a very much regular life, and I think that's the misconception that people hate of as well when it comes to the entertainment industry. It's not what you think. A lot of artists are not making money right now. So
So again, we have young people aspiring to something that is not real.
Or if you are going to invest into it, make sure that you are making income the whole way, so you don't rely on it. That would be my advice to anybody who wants to pursue anything in entertainment. Just make sure you still got money in your pocket the whole way. You could still have a regular job, and let your 9 to 5 fund what you want to do as well. Because if you try to pursue it with no money, then you might find yourself giving up because you're not seeing the financial success. But you would enjoy it more if you just kept some money in your pocket the whole way and and still, just pursue
Let me
it.
let me come back to your experience in the States. Having lived out there, and of course Bermuda is home, how would you say your experiences have shaped your view on race, masculinity as well, and authenticity? Because in Atlanta it's predominantly
Black.
black.
Yeah. And it I just saw more successful black people, but successful doing what they love, more from an entertainment perspective. And unfortunately, some of the success was entertainment, but not good entertainment either. Like some of these reality TV shows. Like I had the opportunity to be on Love and Hip Hop, and I turned it down because I'm like, no, I'm not gonna represent myself like that. I'm not going to just do something just for a check.
But why? Tell me why you were able to resist that. Able to say no to that.
Because, like I said, it goes back to self-belief and self-love and how I want to present myself. Like, even though, it's funny because even though I look at success from a financial standpoint, that was a good opportunity to make money, but it was compromising to who I am as a person. And that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna sell myself just to make money.
How important is that to you, being yourself and not compromising yourself? Sorry, because clearly you have certain moral standards that you're not going to compromise.
Yeah, it's important because it's nothing better than just waking up being myself. Not trying to impress anybody. And I feel like that way you actually find people that would be genuinely just a part of your tribe, because you're going to attract people that actually love you for who you are, appreciate you for who you are, not who you're portraying,
So maintaining your authenticity is something that's precious to you, clearly.
Completely. And me, I've never been a person that has been attached to like a whole crew of people. I'm always like the same friends from childhood. We all have our separate lives. We meet up whenever we do, but we're all individuals, so I think that has been something that has helped me to continue just being myself and being happy with who I am and not needing validation from anybody, So I come from a family that loves me. They reassure me all the time. So I think that's important as well.
Why do you say that is important? Because we live in a time where men are not supposed to talk, to say the thing, make the statements that you're making. Men are not supposed to talk about being loved by their family and supported by their family. That is not the kind of thing. It's not the standard to which men are.
Yeah, and I'll touch on two things. So when you have a young man that doesn't have probably a father present, what he chooses to take in, like negative music, that's going to have an impact on him, because he is going to basically, he doesn't have nobody to reassure him of his value, his worth. So he's going to listen to, the things that are not going to help him grow as a person, but more catered to like the negative side of things. So, he's going to probably portray himself and what he thinks a man is, based on the music he listens to, being a tough guy, gotta smoke, gotta drink, you got to, when you have women, you gotta treat them a certain way, egotistically, you're not approaching nothing with love, and then on another side, just everyday living, I think that, black men in particular, who comes from broken homes, no father figures, they have to just figure it out. And sometimes figuring it out it's not the easiest thing. My father, he died when I was 18, and I felt like that was a really important time when I needed him. But I had to figure it out. I had to, even though I had father figures, but it was still my choice to reach out to him. If I didn't, I could have just went off of my own decision making and made bad decisions. and who knows how that would have been.
You say you lost your dad at 18, and I mean, losing your dad at any time
Yeah.
is difficult. I lost my dad at 45, and
Jeez.
it still wasn't easy.
Yeah.
How were you able to navigate that? Well, you're still a teenager at 18, even though you're legally a man. How were you able to navigate through that whole period of your life and still manage to avoid the pitfalls?
How did I? I think, funny enough, what has also helped me is insecurity in my early stages, because insecurity kind of paralyzed me, where me being insecure, it actually stopped me from doing things. It made me question everything. Versus some people, they operate off of insecurities and they just try everything, and and they don't make good decisions. But for me, my insecurities made me think twice. So because the fact I had nobody at that time reassuring me, my insecurities made me just think twice about all my decisions, and the decisions that I made, they actually were beneficial due to my insecurities. So insecurities actually worked in a good way.
Balance.
Yeah. So, but that's how I was able to just navigate as I got older. Because of insecurities, for me, it was me being unsure. So I asked a lot of questions, or I just observed. I always paid attention to what would be the downfall to this decision. So
Would you say that as a black man, you've ever felt the need to repress certain emotions like anger because of how you probably would be judged in your community or in the community?
Not anger, but I would say in relationships, what I experienced was feeling like that I had to focus more on what a woman needs more than what I need. And I think that's egotistical in a way, because if you approach relationships from that perspective, then you don't know what reciprocation looks like. You don't really know what the purpose of this woman is to you, because you are approaching like, I'm the man, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, anything to make yourself look like the big man to her. And I made I made those decisions a lot in my past relationships. So I never was really vulnerable to, some of my exes, because I didn't want to look like I was weak. But like I said, that was to feed my ego. And I think that a lot of us young men, even younger, we have that problem to where, we get with a girl and, we just want to look like the man. We don't want to look like we're soft, man. And some women actually have contributed towards that. They would not appreciate a vulnerable man either. So, because of that, it would keep a man feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna ever show this side to you. I'm always gonna keep like just all masculinity showing, but it's all egotistical. That's basically what it is.
And how do you think that unwillingness to show vulnerability impacts relationships?
It plays a huge effect, because it's a breed of men that feel like that this is how they have to be, but they still don't learn what love really is. They don't really learn like what they should even be receiving. Like for Valentine's Day, some women, they actually make it a reciprocal day. Like you give me something and I'm gonna give you something as well. Where some women, it's all about, you gotta get the flowers for them, you gotta get the chocolates. It's just all about the woman, and that day becomes an expensive day for men. and they dread it because they're like, I'm gonna spend all this money, and the whole thing is because I have to focus on her, you know. So it's just a very unfortunate thing of like how it breeds like a certain kind of man. You know, they don't like. It's funny because we don't really talk about what black men deserve. Like for me,
or need.
yeah, like for me in particular, I feel like that my perspective is when we think about like life, it's not too many cases where it's a lot of I'll talk about Bermuda. It's not. I feel like women are actually progressing more than men when it comes to like the career. I feel like it's the white man, white woman, the black woman, and then the black man. That's why you have so many black men having entry level jobs, because you know they don't have the opportunity to even get a corporate opportunity. The black woman would get the corporate opportunity,
Right.
and then she would climb up, and then she would actually start to look down on the black man, because now it's just climbing up in a corporate world that is not really black dominated, you know. So she becomes more um, uh, adjusted to like.
A different standard.
Yes. So now the black man that could be he could be a really good guy, but because he has a entry level job, he would be looked
Down
on,
upon.
you know. So that's another thing that also impacts like, you know, the black man as well, because they're like, well, the only way I could get her is if I have X amount of money or X amount of success. To now go right back to the egotistical thing, to where they feel like they have to have certain things to have a successful relationship, but they still don't think that what I desire. They don't look at it as, okay, yes, I might not have a lot of money, I might not have a degree, but I have a good job. I'm working hard, I'm paying my bills, I'm not treating nobody bad, but here I am still being looked at like I'm less than.
So based on what you're saying, do you think that black men and women now have difficulty in having good relationships or establishing good relationships?
Very much, very much. And not so much for what I just said, that's also a part of it, but it's a lot of things. Environment, you know, it's how people are being raised, what is influencing people. I think that people are also not healing from past relationships. I think they're just entering like next relationships without taking time out for themselves, you know, being accountable. I think that's probably the simplest solution. If you are able to be accountable, then that is like a humbling thing, and you can know where you are wrong and have your standard and be able to progress, you know. So it's like a woman who is with a guy and she's been with him for years, and for a long time has been cheating, you know, and then she comes out of the relationship and she's better towards man. But it's like you have to take some accountability because you still stayed in that position, and now you need to know why did you. So this really accountability comes into play, the growth internally, and then you come out a healed person, better, you know, thinking and things like that. And then now you have your standard and you can make better decisions.
Marriage, you think it still has any significance or any... Does it still mean anything in the modern world?
I think people, I think the younger generation, the younger black generation, I think they like the idea of it, but they just don't see enough examples to even look forward to it. Goes back again to like what we're influenced by. We see like what we take in daily, like what we see on social media, what we listen to, these reality TV shows, like these even some of these YouTubers now that show the daily life, it's like we don't see enough examples of successful relationships and marriages, things like that. We see more things pertaining to single life, living your life, you know, but not things like marriage and family. Like we don't see enough of those examples. And then you have people that who have a lot of influence. They give the wrong advice as well. You know, live your life. Don't do this. Don't do that. You know, and I think that has a really big impact on how people think as well.
You only live once.
Yeah. So like if, for example, if you are an artist, a very popular artist, and you have 100 million followers, and you say something like, I don't care about relationship, I'm gonna live my life. That is possibly 100 million people that you can have an impact on, you know? And I think this is where like, that's another problem as well, you know? So you have to literally block out so many things to just have anything successfully personally. You know, if you want to be successful, you know, financially, relationships, like you have to just remove yourself from so many influences and focus on what you actually have in front of you, and you know.
So how would you say, so would it be better if people just told the truth as opposed to, even when it's hard, tell the truth even when it's hard,
Right.
or to just simply toe the line, keep quiet to keep the peace?
No. Always being vocal is important. Because it's nothing better than having that relief of being transparent and people knowing what's on your mind. But also feeling okay to be transparent as well. I think people are scared to be transparent. They don't want to speak up because they're scared of being judged.
And that's vulnerability as well, isn't it?
There you go. You know, so I feel like that, yeah, it starts with yourself and who you choose to have around you to reassure you of who you are, and just let you know it's okay to be vulnerable. Like just having people that you can always be honest with and things like that. You know, my mother, she knows pretty much everything about me, but she didn't raise me to be a mother's boy. I just trust her. You know, like I came out of this woman, so it's like she should be the first person I trust. You know, so but it's unfortunate because some people, they don't trust their parents based on how the parents will teach, like raising them, or they just choose to trust them. So, but
Now you say you still hold strong to your faith on Christian values, I'm assuming. Do you think that people have given up on Christian narrative of judgment, and as you were talking about just living how you want to live, doing what you want to do, but there is a judgment?
Yeah, I think what has messed up that, it's kind of like, it's funny because last night I was reading the Bible, and I started on reading Genesis, and I was talking about the tree of life and how God didn't want them to eat from the tree of life because you will now know too much. So fast forward to today, where we have YouTube, social media, and there's a lot of people now giving their perspectives and using their research to now change what Christianity, religion looks like now completely. So now that is having an impact on people's belief, to where they're like, okay, well, I was taught this, but your perspective makes sense. So now start to, you know, maybe Jesus was this person instead, or you know, or maybe God is this person, or God is the she. Like it's like we have had these questions, but now people's perspectives that we have access to is now devaluing religion, like as a whole. So now you feel more people saying I'm spiritual instead of religious. You know, I feel like religion plays a good part in structure, togetherness, and just having just an overall good impact on people. I feel like when a person says they're spiritual, it's because they don't know what to choose. They are acknowledging that they are spiritual beings, but religion is like, okay, you know, I don't know what to think. And to some cases, they could be right. You know, Seventh-day Adventists, that is a religion that is just over 100 years old. Jehovah's Witness, just over 100 years old. So these are not religions that have been around since the beginning of time, according to Wikipedia. But, you know, but original religions is Christianity, Islam, and if it's more, I don't know. But,
Judaism.
right. So it's like now we have all this access, and it's changing people's perspective as a whole on religion.
Ticklish with the LGBTQ plus movement.
I see.
That has become a major force in modern culture, and we even see it in hip hop.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's another thing that normalizing.
There you go.
Yeah.
So where do you think that influence is coming from? From African traditions or well, not that per se, but where do you think influence is coming from? American pop culture,
That's
what we know
really
as
good
African
question.
traditions?
That is a really good question. From what I used to see, that that was more from a fashion standpoint.
Right.
How, say, like from what I saw, it started with the fashion. So men dressing what would be considered to be feminine. And then now with the music, artists got into fashion. So now you would see artists dressing like what would be considered to be feminine. But it's funny because back in the 70s, you had some of these singers wearing bell bottoms, which is extremely tight pants, you know, which that was considered to be a normal thing. But today, if a man wore bell bottoms, it'd be considered to be a feminine thing. So it's, to me, I feel like it started with fashion, and then artists getting into fashion, and then now it's become, I think it's more stereotype based on how you present yourself, which to me starts with fashion again, you know, how you dress, things like that. And then it's just went from there, to be honest. That's my perspective. I don't really think it came from music or white or black. It just, to me it came from fashion, because fashion is a public way of expressing yourself, and fashion is funky. Like you see some of these runway shirts, some people are just, it doesn't even look like clothes that they're wearing. You see a person wearing a hanger on their head, so it's like
Sorry.
and that is considered to be fashion. So fashion is very broad in how they express themselves, and it's, to me, I feel like that's where it started from.
We've had all those influences, of course, as I mentioned, take root here in Bermuda. Do you think it's difficult to be authentic on this little island?
I think that it's funny because I was thinking the other day, I was like, you know, what is the Bermudian culture? Like what is it that we have that is like our culture? You know, some people said Gumbies, but I'm like, well, Gumbies came from the islands. It doesn't really, it's not like from Bermudian originated. And I was thinking, I'm like, I don't really know what we have cop match, but that's cricket. That still doesn't start from us. So I guess for me,
But that is a uniquely Bermudian thing. I mean, it was used to celebrate
Yes.
emancipation.
yes. So that is something that we have. But I think that because we don't have so much things to represent like our culture, I think that has made it hard for us to be original in just be original, period. I don't think that will follow us. I just think that it's just made it hard for us to be original because we don't really have something of our own to be prideful about and then push out into the world. You know, where some cultures, they have, you know, they have like what is a representation of them and they push it out there. You know, like how Africans have dashikis. You know, that's became like an international thing, but people will be created to Africa. So I think, to my knowledge, we don't really have anything that Bermuda shores, but, you know, not that much for our particular shores. But I guess Bermuda shores, but we need something that all of us would like to be a good representation of us to push out there, that can make us like unique and I guess help us to feel like that we can be original. But I think we're just pretty much, yeah, we don't really even have anything to even push out there so we could actually feel like we're being original in some kind of way.
But do you, again, let me ask you, do you think it's difficult to be authentic here, to be your true self?
Yeah. In some cases, no and yes. In some
You seem to be doing it.
Yeah, well, I can't speak for myself, but I feel like Bermuda's a very cliquey place. A lot of people say that as well. A lot of people say that Bermuda's a very cliquey place based on, sometimes you get opportunities based on just who you know. You know, if you're part of a certain group, you can be accepted quicker. You know, you can get jobs that you might even be qualified for.
So you think people are forced to change who they are in order to fit in, to be accepted in certain sectors of the community?
Forced, or just feeling like that they probably have to, for not feel like that they have to, but they just feel better about themselves when they are a part of something. People always feel better when they are a part of something. Like that gives them validation, you know, and I think that's what we see that's pretty common down there, where people are grouping up with people and it makes them feel validated. So if you see somebody's being successful and that person just takes you under the wing, now you feel good about yourself. You know that, okay, this person who is of this stature, they see something in me, and you know, you can use that as your, to feel validated. But I'm never been that kind of person. I look at everybody as a human, as an individual. Whatever you have, I can get it if I want it as well. You know, it's just if I want it or not. And if I want it, then I'll work hard to get it. If I don't, then that's just not my thing.
Let me come back to your experience in the US. Having lived there and experienced a lifestyle out there, do you think it's all that it's cracked up to be?
No.
Again, illusions.
No, because what I saw didn't really amaze me. I saw what it comes with. It's more of a rat race. It's just constant competition. You know, it's constant feeling that you're gonna keep up with the latest or the Joneses, or you know, because once you achieve a certain level of success, from what I saw, then it was just like very competitive. It wasn't nobody who was just reaching success. They was happy. They're taking care of their families.
It's never enough.
Right. No, it's like, it's just a constant, got to keep on going to get it. And that's what it felt like when I was abroad, that it was like, I just saw that so much. I'm like, wow, like this just enough for me. You know, I come from humble beginnings, and, you know, Bermuda's a very conservative place as well. So we are people that we don't really need much, you know, to be happy. So being abroad is just, it just didn't make me feel like I had to or want to be a part of that. I want to be successful financially, I definitely do, but I look at it from a place of making sure that I'm good and who I can help. Yeah. So,
And again, from that experience, the whole entertainment industry, basically, like, are we really choosing what we want from the entertainment industry of our own free will, or are we just consuming what they put on that plate?
Yeah, I think people are chasing what the results look like more than you actually doing it because you want to. Because for the simple reason, a lot of this music is not purposeful. A lot of what we see out in entertainment is not really purposeful. It's not contributing towards no positive growth or no real evolution. It's keeping us at a standstill or just keeping us down. It looks like a lot of stereotypical black people getting money and then just still looking ignorant, but they're not really respected, in some cases, so it's doesn't seem like anything that is just to be really amazed about, to be honest, from what I saw. Yeah.
We have a situation that's been in the news for some time now with one Sean Combs, P. Diddy Combs. Do you think that situation is like the reckoning for the hip-hop culture?
When you say reckoning, clarify some more.
When I say reckoning, I mean in the sense that this is the debauchery and the just...
What really good is one?
Yes.
It's possible. I wouldn't know. But when we see somebody of that magnitude going through what is going through, it does make you think, wow, what else is going on that we don't know? But I feel like that's everywhere. People that are of high standard with a lot of money, because money and status, like you have access to a lot of things, and it's no telling what actually happens behind closed doors, because you have the power, you have the money to, I guess, brush it under the carpet, keep it quiet. But in this case, it doesn't seem like that's happened. So, but I think that
I guess P. Diddy has hit an oily patch.
Yeah, but not just even him, like R. Kelly, he is another person that got exposed. Bill Cosby, so it's not even just the music, it's just black successful people, unfortunately. So it's just like, and I'm sure it happens with white successful people too.
You didn't get my joke, did you?
What'd you say?
I said, it looks like P. Diddy has hit an oily patch in the road. I went right over your head. Do you think do you see a tipping point in the society that we live in today?
Sorry, say one more time.
Do you see a tipping point in today's society?
So you say a tipping point.
Do you think we've reached that point where nothing else we can't go any further? We've reached the maximum limit.
No, because
you think it's going to get even worse?
Yeah, I think with a lot of things, because my thing is this: while we have access to, the creators of it have this and whatever they have created that's probably 10 years ahead. So whatever we have, like AI is a big thing. So whoever created AI, I'm sure that they have like a version of AI that's like, that we're not going to see till 10 years from now.
It's like a friend of mine, he's in the U.S. military, and we were talking one time about drones. That's when we first started hearing about drones and so on. And he was saying to me, we've had drones for like more than 20 years.
Exactly.
And he says, so now we've decided to let you all know about the drones. Yeah. Just think about what we haven't told you all about yet.
Yeah. So I feel like that the world just naturally just evolves. I feel like it's like how with drugs, it was, like how crack cocaine was like this big thing. Now it's meth. It's I forgot the other one. It's meth, and it's a fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, fentanyl. that's becoming like very popular. Um, I just feel like so many things is just the world is gonna keep on evolving. You know, like even when it comes to women, like the beauty, like what they're doing surgically to feel good about themselves, what men are doing surgically to feel good about themselves. Um, you know, medically, that's something, you know, that they are constantly looking to enhance. I don't feel like, definitely not a tipping point. I feel like we're gonna keep on seeing the world go farther and farther, but I think that's also gonna be our demise as well. I think because we're taking the simplicity out of things now, and we're focusing on progression that we don't really have to focus on, you know. So I think mankind is focusing on, um, I guess, trying to attain things that is just what we would have thought was unrealistic. They're trying to make it realistic now. So
Let's come back to this whole question about your faith that you've held fast to, and you said that has enabled you to navigate these tricky areas and tricky situations that you would have found yourself in. What does hope look like for you based on your faith?
well, nice. Hope looks like, that's a really good question. What does hope look like for them? Oh, I would say hope is belief. Belief that that God will take care of his people, no matter how much this world evolves. It's still a good amount of people that still choose to live life more simplistic. They don't want to, you know, give in to certain things that, like how the world's evolving. They don't want to give into that. They still want to keep some kind of just simplicity in how you live life. You know, like there's some people that, because of how the world is, it's some people that actually would just enjoy just living on the farm, getting away from it all, you know. And funny, I think we're gonna find more Black people going to Africa, because Africa is a place, to my knowledge, that has always been progressive, but they have a really good balance of culture as well. You know, so that's why you see like a lot of Black people when we go to Africa, they didn't even care about shopping. They just want to see like things that is like that we didn't even think was realistic. To where we will go to the States to a zoo and look at a lion, but you go to Africa, you could actually see a lion like right there, you know, and it's just like that's very realistic. Like, you know, so I think that my vision of Africa, and what has been told to me, I just feel like that is what's the motherland. So I feel like that what Africa looks like in my head, I just feel like that if we're gonna find more Black people going down there and seeing what it's like and realizing like, well, like they've been lying to us all this time, and if we can get on there, make Africa the #1 place, you know?
What advice would you give to young people who are perhaps considering getting involved in the entertainment industry as an artist, as a performer, given your experience and the
Right.
realities that you know exist?
I would say the #1 thing is make sure that you maintain income, your earned income daily. Don't rely on nobody. Don't rely on your parents. Don't rely on nobody to fund what you want to do. If this is what you want to do, always remember it's a choice. It is your choice. Nobody else has to believe in it like you. So be responsible with your choices, but also take yourself serious enough to where you want people to actually take you serious. You know, so, and I think that
Let's look at it from a grounding perspective.
Yeah, yeah. I would say maintain having money in your pocket, but also be the biggest believer in yourself. Don't look for anybody to validate you. Um, do a lot of networking. Um, that's gonna be a really good thing to do. Don't be afraid to speak to people, um, and find people that are in the career choice of what you want to do, and always look to like network with those people. Go to networking events because now they have networking events all over the world for whatever you want to do. So I would say networking, believing in yourself, maintaining money in your pocket, and just not being afraid and not looking for
But
validation.
how do they come out of this like you did unscathed? Still have your faith, still have your foundations? Because we've seen many people enter this,
Yeah,
they don't,
and lose yourself.
or battered and bruised and losing themselves.
Yeah. Um, how can somebody? To be very honest, I actually have no advice for that. I think that it's really based on the person. Because I can have advice, but it might not be fitting for them. I think that people just have to just be honest with themselves.
Should they believe what they see being
Yeah,
promoted?
find out the truth in everything that you pursue. Because the truth will let you know if this is what you really want to do. Because now we have access to the information of the dark side of what we want to do. If you want to be into ballet, you can research on YouTube, okay, what is like the bad side to doing ballet? It could be your feet, your toes are just not going to look attractive for the rest of your life. It could be anything, right? So, but we have access now to finding out all the information that we need. So whatever you want to pursue, also research like what is like the dark side to it, to know this is what you want to do.
Ryan, thank you very much for talking with us.
You're welcome.
Much
I appreciate
appreciated. So thank you for being with us as we continue the discussion on things that influence us, influence our thinking, influence our belief systems, influence the way we feel even. And we're going to continue to explore these things as they impact Bermuda, impact the people that live here, the people that call this island home, through the state of the nation. Continued discussions, looking at the issues, addressing them, and again, most importantly, with Dr. Stanley James, looking for the solutions which again lie within us.